Sunflower Bay. So if you didn't know already, we're married. And I just want to know how many kids we're having. Sunflower, I think it would take me meeting you in order for us to be married and having kids, right? And I don't think we've met yet. Hey guys, I'm back at it this week, reading and responding to your YouTube comments. So this must be a very stupid question. How often does a person need to change undies? Miko, I would do it daily. Fungi love warm, wet, dark environments. When you rewear the same underwear, that fungus can start growing on your skin and you will get a condition known as jock itch. Or some women can get a yeast infection. So Miko, change up that underwear daily, please. Hey, Dr. Mike. Hey, Ruthie. Apparently pollen season started already. I think a spring allergy video / pollen video would be awesome. Since that is something I've been suffering for about 6 years, it's a little bit of a complex answer for those patients of mine who have springtime allergies. There's definitely something to be said about taking a daily controller medication. There are websites that you can visit to see pollen counts, like the pollen forecast for that day. There are days when the pollen count is so high that a person like you should not be outdoors or should at least strictly limit the time spent outdoors. Perhaps getting a filter for your home that is certified to remove pollen from the air would be ideal. Would you wear a shirt with a few buttons left undone when you publish your next video? I think you would get more views. Well, Sean, I appreciate the compliment. Yeah, I would do that. I have no problem wearing a shirt with a couple buttons undone. I don't know how low you want me to go, like those old school Russian gangsters. When I grew up, I'm Russian. I used to hang out in Brighton Beach and the guys would have their shirts down to here and I'll be like, what is going on? What's the maximum frequency that one should eat fish in a week? It's a great question, Omar. Are you eating wild fish versus farmed fish? Are you eating smaller fish like tuna or salmon? Or are you eating large fish like swordfish? Larger fish, predator type of fish, generally have higher levels of mercury. I do think it's relatively safe to do like 3 or 4 times a week eating a tuna or salmon. Peachy Montoya. What a name. I don't know if that's your name or your username, but it's awesome. I love peaches, by the way. That's why I'm obsessed with peach Snapple. Shh, a lot of sugar. Dr. Mike, how long will it take for large stretch marks to fade away? Stretch marks, once they're there, they're there. And while there are some laser procedures and some surgical procedures that can get rid of them, it's very difficult, near impossible to get rid of stretch marks because it is scar tissue. It's basically damage that's happened to your skin. How do stretch marks happen? Well, your skin is naturally somewhat elastic, right? If I pull on my skin here, it just doesn't tear and rip and bleed, right? But if your body size changes rapidly, you gain muscle too quickly, you are pregnant, you put on a lot of weight because you've been eating poorly, any one of those drastic changes where the skin has to adapt rather quickly, you're gonna get some damage there. And when you have damage, you get scar tissue. Hey, Dr. Mike, is it true alkaline water better than regular one? Diana, I have never seen this to be true. I understand why some people are promoting it, and I think it's based on flawed science, or at least incomplete science. What you put in your body, whether it's alkaline or acidic, it doesn't change the acidity of your blood. That's not how it works. I was wondering if you would have become something other than a doctor, what would have been? Maggie, I would have been a detective. I love investigating and putting pieces together and seeing little things that other people don't see, little details like Sherlock Holmes style. And I think being a doctor is very similar to being a detective. So Lauren Garcia, does muscle really weigh more than fat? Well, that's like the typical trick question that people ask. What weighs more, a pound of feathers or a pound of gold? They weigh the same. Muscle doesn't weigh more than fat, and fat doesn't weigh more than muscle. Now that being said, muscle is more dense, so it would look like less muscle is needed to weigh the same as more fat because fat is less dense, but in reality, 1 pound of muscle equals 1 pound of fat. What do you think of cranberry supplements? Do they really prevent UTIs? Well, Andrea, I'll tell you this. Cranberry supplements, the way that they're supposed to work is they're supposed to acidify your urine. When you acidify your urine, it makes it less likely, or supposedly makes it less likely that you'll get an infection because bacteria don't like to live in an acidic environment. That's the premise behind taking cranberry supplements. Number one, I don't like supplements, so I would much rather you just have cranberries or drink cranberry juice, natural stuff, not the concentrate. The evidence, honestly, like I've looked at it, it's fairly weak. But again, because we look at harms versus benefits in these types of situations, I think that the benefits probably outweigh the harms. If there is even a slight chance that cranberries can help your UTI or prevent a UTI, go ahead and eat some cranberries. Because what's the harm in eating some cranberries? They're rich in antioxidants, and if they help prevent UTIs, boom, you got yourself a 2-in-1 deal. Dr. Mike, I think you would look good with bleach blonde hair. This wasn't a request, it's a demand. Chill. Beach blonde hair. I think I'd look really weird. I don't know. Maybe if you get this video to 200,000 likes, I'll dye my hair blonde. Oh my God, I probably shouldn't have started that. I didn't commit to that. There was no handshake. Don't get your lawyers involved. Hey, Dr. Mike, I have a question. Why is it that I always get ear infections? I clean my ears every day, use nasal spray, and sleep on a heating pad each night. Okay, Emma, you make one of the biggest mistakes that my patients most often make. Cleaning your ears, I assume with Q-tips. Q-tips, what they actually do, number one, instead of getting earwax out, they just end up pushing the earwax back into the ear and clogging it, therefore making it more susceptible to infection. The second thing they do, because the Q-tip, the cotton, is slightly rough, and the area within your ear is very gentle, very sensitive. When you put the Q-tip in your ear and scratch your ear, it may feel good, but what you're doing is you're creating micro tears, little irritations in the skin that basically make it more susceptible for bacteria to get in there and cause an infection. So by cleaning your ears every day with a Q-tip, you're actually making it more likely that you're gonna get an infection. What are your thoughts on colon hydrotherapy and coffee enema, and would you recommend these therapies? Melinda, no, I would not. Never, in no way, sense, or how of the word would I ever recommend a coffee enema or colon hydrotherapy. This is the definition of garbage. Please do not waste your money on it. As you can tell, my vein is popping out right now because I'm quite angry that these people are taking your money and misguiding you and giving you lofty promises. Coffee enemas are BS, and anyone who tells you that they're good for your health is a POS.
Just calm down.
Sueda Guñez. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. I don't know what the double dots represent. I already have black rings under my eyes. How can I get rid of them? People always assume that I'm sick. Sueda, this is a great question. If you have a lifestyle where you're not sleeping well, where you're not well hydrated, if you eat too much salt, all of those things really affect the area underneath our eyes. Because of the bone formation surrounding our eyes, the skin is very thin, and the way that the light reflects from light that's generally above us in this area can make it seem darker than it actually is. Also, because the skin is thinner, you can generally see more blood vessels there. And blood vessels, being veins, and veins are generally a bluish color, how the light reflects off that area can seem darker or blacker than the rest of your skin. First and foremost, what I would recommend, make sure you're getting enough sleep. Make sure you're eating a healthy diet, not overeating salt, and you're staying well hydrated. Get your exercise in, because I say it all the time, exercise is basically a cure-all that helps with almost every aspect of our lives. Finally, if you're still unhappy with your appearance, there are some cosmetic things you could do. There are bleaching creams if it's seriously a color issue. There's also injections that you can put right below the eye here, which basically act as a filler. It basically lifts the skin up off of the bone, and it changes the way the light reflects off of the area, and therefore the area seems more full and less dark. Hey, so I'm a sophomore in high school and I'm super interested in the medical field. Do you have any recommendations for classes I should take? Your videos are great. I don't think in high school you should specialize your classes to get you ready for med school, and I'll explain why. In college, you're already going to be forced to take a specific set of courses if you want to get into medical school, and then once you're in medical school, obviously there's a curriculum. So you might as well spend your time in high school to try and learn as many different topics, very broad categories, so you can figure out if med school is for you, or maybe you're drawn to something completely different like politics or something, even though right now the political landscape is crazy. But take a broad diversity of classes, see what you enjoy, see where your passions lie, and I think that's what's going to make you a great candidate for medical school. Tom, do you want to live in NYC your whole life or move away in the future? Ooh, I don't know why you added the ooh in there. I don't know, I'm a New York City guy ever since I moved here when I was 6 years old. I've lived in Brooklyn, Staten Island, Long Island, now in New York City. I love this place, I call it home. My family's here, Roxy's here, Bear's here, so I don't know. I think I'm staying here, if not for my whole life, definitely for the foreseeable future. Good question, Tom. Oh! I love reading and responding to your comments, so please continue filling up the comment section. As you know, I answer them within the comment section. I'm very active there, and I also do this monthly segment where I read and respond to your comments. Please subscribe to the channel because it tells YouTube that you really enjoy my content and that you want more of it. As always, stay happy and healthy.